victim blaming. Today's topic is victim blaming. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Guru Shakia. I am a rape victim, and I have a series on rape and sexual assault. Basically, where I do episodes on different topics that affect me dealing with rape. And today's topic is basically about victim blaming, which I think I touched on before, but I wanted to make a whole video about just victim blaming. And basically what victim blaming is when a person is raped or sexual assaulted or molested or whatever the case may be, this is when society or the rapist, the person who did this to the victim, they flip the script. Basically, they put all the blame on the victim, and so the rapist or the perpetrator, I think is the right word, the person, who did this to the victim, they flip the script and blame it on the victim. So that's why you hear so many cases of like, well, she wasn't wearing that skirt, I would have controlled myself better. Or when, that's why when people take rape cases to courts and they're like, well, was alcohol involved? It's like every time a case with rape or sexual assault is brought up, they're always like, well, wait a minute, what was involved? What else was in play here? Instead of simply saying the rapist raped this person. They try to take all the blame off the rapist, and they basically downplay the victim's case or what happened to them. Many cases, for example, what just happened to me in my family situation, someone asked me, oh, were you sure you weren't molested? Or like, people try to downplay it. And a lot of times people don't believe that it can happen to people and so people try to a lot of cases you'll hear people like, oh, well, this person would never do that. So they another thing of victim blaming is dismissing your case altogether, dismissing your trauma. Some people don't even touch on the trauma at all. It's easier to just hide it or not speak on it at all. Many cases it's just like we've learned in this society to it's always the victim's fault. Or the greatest term, boys will be boys. And we live in a very, very ass backwards society where rape it's not a big deal, or it doesn't matter, or somehow the victim was deserving of it. When rape is a very, very big deal. It's one of the most traumatic experiences one can have. It can hinder a person's life from growing in many areas, from day-to-day work, from being intimate with the partner, getting a partner, keeping a partner, and healthy relationships in general. A lot of times rape victims and sexual assault victims cannot focus on their life because they're dealing with this trauma. A lot of times you get stuck in the point where this trauma happened. So if it happened when you're little, basically you got stuck at that point, and you had no real growth until that is touched upon. And if it's not touched on, you're basically always like trying to cover it up, but you're not really having any effective change happening. So until you hit that core, you can't really change within yourself. So a lot of victim blaming, again, is when you hear so many college cases, for example, of football players or whatever, especially when it's a guy versus a girl involved, and the guy has high stature. They're always like, well, wait a minute, what did the girl do? Or it's just no one, the person who was the rapist or sexual assault is never, well, you need to be held accountable for your actions. Because we live in such a masculine society where the reality of it, no one gives a fuck about women. And that's what our society is telling people every day. This is what our mothers and fathers are teaching daughters every day. I hear instances where, in the hood especially, where I grew up, everyone's like, Well, at one point or another, a female deserves to get hit if she acted a certain way. Well, it's like everything's geared towards, letting men off the hook, or letting the person who raped or did the action, letting them off the hook. And like, men will be men, boys will be boys. Oh, excuse them, they don't know any better. Bullshit. They know just as much as women do. It's just this society has let them get away with it for too long. And it's just a take what you can whenever you want it kind of society for men. It's not like that for women, unfortunately. But why would anyone want to do that anyways? That's the question we need to be asking here. But yeah, it's just basically flipping the script. A lot of this is downplaying the victim's experience, sometimes acting like as if it never happened, washing away the story of the victim, sometimes completely, shooing the victim away, and just letting the person off the hook completely. There's so many cases where the men or the rapist never had to deal with the consequences of raping, and hence this leaves so many more cases to happen. And because we're teaching people that it's a fairy tale, like rape doesn't happen, or it's not that big of a deal. Like, they're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. You sure you didn't like it? Or things like that, which is so crazy. Like, we have such an insane society that we live in, to be honest. And this allows people to grow up so dysfunctional, and our women are treated so horrible and grow up so dysfunctional. And we're supposed to raise, queens and kings, but we're out here, dismissing real life issues, acting like they don't exist, like they're unicorns or some shit. But yeah, that's victim blaming, you guys. A little bit of it anyway. Peace.